Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's our Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio as we come to you each and every day here live on KDSJ 479. And you know what today is. It's been a special Friday each and every day. It's the A. We get you guys ready for all Arkansas athletics as it was opening day but got postponed. 12 o'clock at Baum-Walker Stadium. The baseball diamond and Omahags, they get things rolling for the 2018 or 2019-2020 season, I should say. Or no, it's the 19 year, Demetrius, ain't it? I always look to my producer when I, have some flub ups. But also, too, we got a special show. At 1:15, we're going to be talking with Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops. We're going to talk Arkansas NCAA tournament, talk a little recruiting. They got some OVs coming up here to the Hill, and we'll find out those things. And then we're going to catch up at 1:30 with the fastest 40 talk. Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Talking game keys. Arkansas has a big one coming up tomorrow. I mean a big one in Bud Walton. 7:30 tip-off on the SEC Network. We'll be talking about that, but we caught up with Mike Anderson. He's going to also get you ready for the Mississippi State game. And then I got a special guest going to be sitting in my seat. Won't be me, but I guarantee you there's a lot of information going to be coming from this seat. Here's Mike, and my guest will return. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
Anytime, Bob. Hope everyone's having a good Valentine's Day. I guess that's what it is, Valentine's Day. We move on to the next game, which is Mississippi State, team that just had a big win against Alabama. We both have the same record, I think, in conference play. So, needless to say, it's a big game. It's a big game in a lot of ways for our basketball team. Having lost two on the road and having our chance now to defend the home court against the Mississippi State team was, I think it was like in the top 15 early in the year. And they're playing at a much, much higher level. Very talented team, very athletic team, great size. Of course, you have the Witherspoon brothers and Kandari. Witherspoon's an outstanding player, a senior, that leads their team in scoring and a lot of other categories. The Lamar Peters kid is a really, really crafty guard, quick, handles the ball, gets guys in position to score. And again, they have size and will play about 8-9 guys. So it should be an outstanding game. Looking forward to our guys coming out and hopefully playing with the energy you got to play with this time of the year. Again, coming off of a tough loss at Missouri where we're in position to win the game, and that's the thing that we're trying to find, that consistency. The consistency to play at a high level for 40 minutes, and that's when you start taking to the next level. And with 7 games left on our schedule, that's our mindset right now, and it's the most important game is the Mississippi State game.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned the other day you thought the South Carolina first half was the best defense you guys have played all year. Then they scored 46 in the second half. Mizzou scored 46 in the first half. What do you think happened to your defense after that first half of Carolina? What do you got to do to get back to what you guys are playing?
I thought for about the first 28 minutes, I thought we played pretty good defense. We were tenacious in getting after it. I thought in the Missouri game, I thought we came out with a little sluggish. I think we didn't have the energy. And I don't know if it's the quick turnaround or what it was. We didn't have that energy until the second half, because in the second half they only scored 33 points. And so that's why I talk about the consistency. We got to do it for 40 minutes. Can't do it for 20 minutes or 25 minutes. And that energy has got to be started at the beginning of the game, the middle of the game, and finish the game. So the inconsistencies is what we got to, and sometimes it goes hand in hand with scoring. When you're scoring, your energy level goes up. So we've got to be able to, not necessarily just because we're scoring, that we're playing at a high level on defense. But give Missouri credit. They came out and made some shots. And even when you're talking about South Carolina's a good basketball team.
Hello, everybody. It's Cassius Williamson, and I'm going to carry on a little bit about Razorback basketball. This week in Razorback basketball, Arkansas loses to Missouri, but we still have some good news because Isaiah Joe, the freshman, breaks the Arkansas three-point record. And me and Isaiah Joe, we've been cool for a couple years. I've even interviewed Isaiah Joe a couple times. I just want to say shout out to Isaiah Joe and good luck tomorrow. and Mississippi State. Also, Reggie Perry, a McDonald's All-American, coming up tomorrow. He's not from Arkansas, but he played for Arkansas team, the Arkansas Hawks, big team out of Little Rock, the AAU team. 2 Arkansas Hawks going at it this weekend. That'll be fun to watch.
Let me ask you a question. When you look at Reggie Perry and you look at Isaiah Joe, what do you take from their game, and what do you see them doing in tomorrow's basketball game?
Well, Isaiah Joe always brings excellent shooting to the game. Every time I see him on TV, all I hear the announcer say is, watch out for Isaiah Joe. If we're down 3, we know Isaiah Joe's getting it to shoot the shot. That's our first look. And Reggie Perry is just dominant all over the court. I mean, this summer, he would just block a shot, run down the other end, dunk it. He can shoot it. He can play inside. He can do everything. So I look for the 2 freshmen to dominate on the offensive side and have big effects for their team.
So we know this is a huge game coming up, and like you said, you got a chance to see Reggie Perry. What do you think the atmosphere is really going to be like? Because we know, he was recruited by the Razorbacks first, and he signed to the Razorbacks. So, what do you really have to say about this? I know you say you did an interview previous with him. So what do you know about Reggie Perry?
Well, I know that Reggie Perry wanted to come to Arkansas. I don't know what necessarily changed his mind, but all I know is I texted him congratulations, because anytime you're a McDonald's All-American or you get to sign to a Division I school, that's pretty big. But most people didn't know Reggie Perry's name until after he signed with Mississippi State. So every time he touches the ball, Bud Walton is probably gonna boo him.
Definitely, and that's good that you mentioned that. That's going to be a home game. Arkansas has only lost 4 games in the history of Arkansas. With Mike Anderson being the coach, they've only lost 4 home games. What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like if they do lose this 5th game? Because, a lot of people are already kind of calling for Mike Anderson to give up his job. So what do you think tomorrow is going to really entail?
Well, anytime you have home court advantage anywhere in the country, that's big, that's huge. Nobody really loses at home. I mean, Louisville lost at home the other day, but they lost to Duke, so that's understandable. But tomorrow, the fans always play a big part in any game, no matter if it's high school, college, or NBA. And then also, since we're on the hill, the referees are hopefully going to be our way. So, but tomorrow the atmosphere definitely does play a part, as far as coaches calling plays, or somebody trying to call timeout, or free throws, all those big part of the game. So the atmosphere will definitely play a big part.
And I'm glad you mentioned referees. It's been close calls at the end of every game. The last 3 or 4 games that Arkansas has had. We know Daniel Gaffney is going to have to play a physical game, an exciting game. So what necessarily does Arkansas really have to do to beat Mississippi State?
Their best player, well, I wouldn't say best player, but best offensive player is Daniel Gafford. So Daniel Gafford has to score 25 plus tomorrow for them to win, get 10 plus rebounds, get a couple block shots. He doesn't necessarily have to do all those plays, but Daniel Gafford has to be the one to deliver the exciting plays, get a exciting dunk, get 1 or 2 exciting blocks, make big free throws in the clutch. Isaiah Joe, make big threes. Harris, make alley-oop passes. Those type of plays, momentum plays. Game is about momentum. So tomorrow, Arkansas just has to make more momentum plays than Mississippi State.
So we know Isaiah Joe. You said Isaiah Joe and Daniel Gafford, and we know what those guys really offer the Razorbacks from a scoring standpoint. Who else outside of Daniel Gafford and Isaiah Joe is really going to have to show up in order for Arkansas to win this crucial game?
Well, the whole game is a team effort. Mason Jones, and then not everybody knows this, but Jalen Harris, I know he's the point guard and he might not score much, but he has to play a big game as far as assist to turnover ratio and getting big stops, and he usually does that. His assist to turnover ratio is 5th in the country, and I don't know about you, but if I had a whole country of point guards, it'd be pretty nice if my point guard was 5th in the country at doing that. So, people that are not, sophomores, juniors, seniors, they have to make the big plays because, seniority matters. Oh, and now we're going into the break.
Mississippi State also in a man-to-man defense, and Thurman answers yes. Off the friendly roll. Scotty Thurman ties the game at 2. Eric trying to regain his composure after missing 3 shots right underneath the basket. There's a 3 by the senior Roger Crawford. Shot clock to 6 as Grant fires a 3 and bottoms it. Marcus Grant with a tray, breaking a 4-minute plus scoreless string for the Bulldogs. They're within 2. Grant's been a hot man. Shot blocked. Walters saves it. Arms flailing. He puts it up and in.
Mississippi State coming back on the offensive glass. 3 buckets in a row now in 3 straight possessions.
Dogs up 2. Williamson. No doubt on that one. And a foul. Takes it away from his teammate Dwight Stewart.
He did that well against LSU the other night, rebounding. Good pass.
And again, Corliss Williamson with a chance for a 3-point play.
So 3 important plays.
Hopefully one of their strong points, their depth. Here's Dan Pierre. Nice move, and he got it with the left hand.
Oh, was that a pretty move, huh? He had Robinson on his back and just spun on him. 2 pretty good freshmen right there, Tom.
Dogs by 2.
Robinson wants it back. He wants to show Dampier his move.
Calling for it. He gets it from Remots. Wilson doubles down, so Robinson shoots over Dampier.
Getting back on defense pretty well. They're not allowing any easy ones for Arkansas.
A 3-pointer put through by Thurman. Thurman has 5.
He may be well on his way to breaking his own record of last year when he hit 83s in one season.
He now has 146 career 3-point shots. And an answering 3 by Wilson. 2-dog break. Remont's batting it away. He's got McDaniel wide open.
Welcome back. It's our Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, brought to you each and every day here live on KDSJ 479, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And, we always get into it. The weekends are really about the fastest 40. And some of the guys we like to catch up with, one of them's here with me right now, Hogville.net and AR Hoops, Kevin McPherson. Kev, welcome back to OTH, my man.
Pat, good to be with you as always, my friend.
Let's talk about it. Give me some of your keys before we get in depth of, the main thing that we want to get into. What are your keys for Arkansas? Big game. Both teams coming in 5-6. Which way are you leaning here? And, who's it bigger for, Mississippi State or Coach Anderson and his ball club?
Well, it's bigger. It's bigger for Arkansas. It's a home game. Arkansas's, somehow still on the bubble after going 0-2 on the road last week. Right. Neither South Carolina, Missouri are really what you'd call quality losses. Now, they were on the road, but Arkansas went into last week on the bubble, and somehow they're still there. Mississippi State's played a tough schedule. They've already played Kentucky twice. They're solidly projected in. I know that all teams this time of year, a win is big, and they all want it, but Arkansas needs it more than Mississippi State. So I think, and Arkansas hasn't beaten Mississippi State in over 3 years. They've lost 3 in a row. You have to go back to the 15-16 season back in January, and Arkansas beat them at Bud Walton Arena. Arkansas needs this win, and this would be a big resume win for Arkansas. Mississippi State's in the top 30 in the NCAA net, which replaced RPI this year. And so a top 30 win at home counts as one of those quad one quality victories.
Right.
So, in my opinion, but I think this is a tough matchup for Arkansas also, Pat. And I'll tell you why. Mississippi State is just loaded. They go 8 deep, but they're loaded with not only all SEC type of players, but really pro talent.
Right.
Backcourt and front line. And so I think this is a tough matchup for Arkansas. Good that they've got them at home, and they can find a way to win that game.
When you look at this matchup, it's quite obvious. You would naturally say Daniel Gafford, Reggie Perry or Eric Holman, pretty much the 2 bigs that he's going to have to battle throughout tomorrow's 40 minutes. But, in my opinion, it's of the guards. These immature and young guards for Arkansas at some point need to have a breakout game. And I think it's been building when Keyshawn, is off. then Isaiah's on. When Isaiah's off, Keyshawn has been on, but it's been, real close to coming together at one time. Is that the matchup in your eyes tomorrow night? How Arkansas's young guards fare against these, very mature guards of Mississippi State?
Well, Arkansas's guards are just going to have to find a way to hang in there, because really this Mississippi State team, that's where everything starts for this team, is the guards. Quindary Weatherspoon, 18 points a game, third in the SEC. He shoots over 50% from the field. He's a good three-point shooter, a good free throw shooter, a good rebounder. He'll get assists, and he's given Arkansas fits. His younger brother, Nick Weatherspoon, was a five-star coming out of high school, a solid defender and a good basketball player. You look at Lamar Peters, the point guard. He's on some NBA draft boards right now, a 6-foot junior. And then they got other guys in that rotation. Tyson Carter's a good three-point shooter, a junior. And they got a freshman that's a 6'7" wing that's strong and starting to kind of round into his game. And so the backcourt depth is something that Mississippi State hangs its hat on, and they're all really high-level players. I think Arkansas's guards are going to have to probably collectively have their best game to have a chance to win this. But you're right, it may be building. I mean, like you said, Keyshawn Henry-Simpson's role has increased. He's had some good games. We know what Isaiah Jones, Mason Jones. Seems like one of those guys is on when the other one's off. They need an on game for both of them. And then Jalen Harris, I just really want to see him play within his strengths. These last two games have sort of been, against South Carolina, he took a ton of shots and had not enough assists and too many turnovers. And then this last game, having the ball in his hands late, it's really not his strength is finishing when you got to have it and the game's on the line. And so I think if he can have a bounce back and really play within himself, Arkansas is going to have a chance to win at home.
When I also look at this game, Mississippi State comes in a really good three-point shooting team. I think they lead the SEC in that category. Arkansas, on the flip side, has had a lot of trouble with defending the opposing team's three-point opportunities. I think Arkansas is, letting the opposing team shoot a high clip. Is this going to be something that Arkansas has to do tomorrow? Because once you let the Weatherspoon brothers and Peters, and also too, not to mention Reggie Perry being able to step out and have the ability to put the ball on the floor and shoot the three.
And Holman too.
How big is this that Arkansas has to run those guys off the three-point line? Yeah,
you look at what Arkansas' struggles were. South Carolina and Missouri really aren't good offensive teams. They're pretty average. But in the second half against South Carolina, Arkansas gave up 46 points. A lot of those were on wide-open threes. Missouri, even though it's an average offensive team, is a good three-point shooting team, and they had success getting wide-open looks too. And you make a great point. This last three games where Arkansas has lost to Mississippi State, a lot of that's been how good and big and strong their guards are and creating matchup problems in one-on-one situations and then kicking out for wide-open threes. I think Arkansas may have to go to his own pat, get Gafford in the middle. Tends to get in foul trouble reaching out on the perimeter on the ball screen switches and reaching and fouling guards 20 feet away from the basket. Get him inside, play zone. Now your guys don't have to cover as much territory to close out on a three-point shooter. But Mike Anderson may have to play more zone against this team. They got to try something to kind of get over the hump against Mississippi State.
When you look at Arkansas, it goes back to the Jimmies and the Joes. You are an expert in that field. Arkansas's got some upcoming official visits. And also, some of the future in the 2020 class. Could you give us an update as to, that part of, the Arkansas program and where Fastest 40 sits across the country?
Okay, are you talking about the 19 and 20? I didn't hear you, Pat.
Yes, I had heard a report. DOR, Mahamadou, has talked to Coach Watkins, and also to, there's been some official visits set up on that side of things. I just want you to give the listeners some of the updates that you've come across in either the 19 or 20 class.
Yeah, so Muhammad Diarra, 6'10", 7'3", wingspan. He lived in Bentonville and actually played pickup ball with the Hogs, including Gafford last year. Now he's out in the Massanutten Military Academy in Virginia. He's a senior, like I said, 6'10", 7'3", wingspan. His game reminds me a lot of Moses Kingsley. He loves the Hogs. And Associate Head Coach Melvin Watkins, Assistant Coach Scotty Thurman saw him play last Sunday. They're talking about coming back out to see him at the end of February. And he's telling me they're also talking to him about taking his official visit sometime after his season. Last I talked to him, that had not been set in stone yet. But he's told me several times Arkansas is his leader. If it gets to the point of an offer, I think he'll commit on the spot. Arkansas also reportedly offered, and the young man confirmed it to me this week, to Clarence Naldoni. They call him French. He was born and raised in Paris, France, but he's a 6'4" combo guard. Watkins and Thurman saw him play at that same event. They saw Diarra last Sunday, but he just recently picked up offers. He scored 22 points in a game where they saw him. Arkansas offered him, Iowa State, Bob Huggins, and West Virginia offered him, so he's got a Georgetown offer. So it's a 6'4" combo guard. Like I said, a native of France, but has been playing in the United States. He plays in Pennsylvania at Scotland's Campus Hoops. It's an independent school. But another guy, is Arkansas, probably going to have to move on from Khalil Garland in terms of finding somebody, another perimeter player with some size and at 6'4" and athletic, and checks a lot of boxes as a combo guard. That may have something to do with that offer.
Well, as always, my man, we love having you on. I'll catch up. I know I'll see you tomorrow night, and we'll sit down and break bread. I think we will, as we always
Looking
do.
forward to it, man. Is Cassius in the house today?
Oh yeah, Cassius, he's definitely here, and
Cassius in there.
He brought the show in. I'm telling you, big time.
Yeah.
One of these days, you're gonna flip on, and he's gonna be sitting in my seat, and it's not gonna be on the.
Oh man, he's coming, man. He's coming for everybody. I tell him that every time I see him.
Well, yeah, he's in, and we'd love to have him, and he's gonna actually finish out the show. So if you have any questions, he'll be on later on in the show, I believe.
Man, we're smooth over my rough spots there, Big K. Make it all work. Make it all work.
All right, my man. Well, as always, Kev, thanks for taking time out on the hill, and have a safe trip up tomorrow, my man.
All right, look forward to seeing you, Pat. Take care, guys. Thank you.
All right. That was Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and also Hogville.net. Covers all recruiting for Hogville.net. You can catch his articles on NWA online and also Whole Hog Sports. But we also caught up yesterday with Isaiah Joe, sophomore freshman shooting guard, and sophomore sensation Daniel Gafford, as they're going to be previewing this Arkansas-Mississippi State game. And then following those two, more Fastest 40 talk with our good buddy Scotty Borland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit.
Everybody ready? Ready? Will we stop?
That'd be it. Daniel, just kind of how physically you feel, because you got pretty well banged up the other day. It looked like a couple of shots in the back and everything, and just feel you got your game back, after the tough one the game before.
I'm feeling pretty good physically. I got a lot of treatment yesterday. Just a couple of bumps and bruises. Nothing is not going to hold me back. I got my game back, like you said, but I could have did more to help us get that win. But it is what it is.
Isaiah, how do you feel about breaking the freshman record? Obviously, there's more records out there. And Daniel, what have you thought about Isaiah's 3-point shooting this year and how that's helped the team?
It's a big honor, to be able to break some of those records. And not a lot of people get that opportunity. But at the same time, I would have rather got the win and not break the record, But, you just can't – you don't know how the game's going to go. So, but breaking the record is a great feeling, a big honor.
Isaiah, he's came through for us in a lot of games with his shooting, and he's a great shooter, and it's a well-deserved thing for him that he's got this record. But sometimes that could have helped us win, and sometimes, but I'm just happy for him because he's a hard worker. He gets in the gym, works on his shot every day, and it shows in the game.
What have you seen of Reggie Perry, and what do you think of his game at Mississippi State?
I've seen Reggie Perry play. I hadn't seen him play lately at Mississippi State. I hadn't really, been paying attention to it. But I heard he's doing some pretty good things. We just got to be ready for him when he comes to Bud Walton.
Yeah, both of you guys, I guess Reggie committed here and then he changed his mind, which obviously, a lot of guys do that. How well, Isaiah, you played with Reggie, right? How well do you guys know him? What did you think about when he was maybe going to come here, and then when he decided not to come, or how did that make you guys feel, and does that add a little extra to this game?
I played AU ball with Reggie for a long time. We're real close friends. We're really real good friends. It was an unexpected change when he had changed his mind, but I'm happy for him. I wish the best for him. But going into the game, there's probably going to be a lot of emotions in the air, so, you just got to play hard.
Did you know him when he visited? And how did you feel when he changed his mind?
Welcome back. It's the A edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Friday edition, as we like to talk all Arkansas. Get you guys ready for all upcoming events. And Arkansas has a big ball game in Bud Walton Arena. Tip off tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. You can catch that ball game on the SEC Network. But when it's fast as 40, who do we go to? Our good buddy Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Scotty, welcome back to OTH, my man.
How are you guys doing today?
Always good. As long as I can stay dry. It's wet outside, but that's why we do our shows, and that's why they play basketball indoors, which is what we want to talk about. Let's talk game keys. What are your keys to Arkansas? Coming out of Bud Walton tomorrow night, 6-6, in your opinion.
Yeah, yesterday, kind of the thing that I wanted to tackle was kind of the backcourt matchup, because Arkansas's got. I know we talk about Arkansas's backcourt being young a lot. Jalen, I guess, is the most experienced kid, having played a year at New Mexico before his redshirt season. But other than that, Arkansas doesn't have a whole lot of experience in its backcourt. But Mississippi State, I think, I don't want to call them the best backcourt, but they're certainly an experienced one,
right?
And a really talented group. They got the Weatherspoon brothers. I think he's third leading scorer in the SEC, so he can give you buckets from pretty much anywhere. And then Lamar Peters was a guy who I think he tested the draft waters last year after a pretty solid sophomore year. So they're really talented, and I wrote too in that story that when Arkansas won 4 straight SEC games, they turned teams over on almost 27% of their possessions, which is really, really good. But when the Weatherspoon brothers and Lamar Peters share the floor this year, Mississippi State only turns the ball over, I think, less than 16% of their possessions. So that's
talking create transition. With the size of Mississippi State, that could become a problem. You can gain fouls. Is that something that you feel Arkansas is going to have to, do? Have Reggie Chaney be a big part of tomorrow night's game?
And I think he's got to be a big part of every game. We've talked about this a lot, since he, I guess, came on,
right,
toward the end of 2018, and he got his first start against Texas State. Didn't play very well. He's only played 24 combined minutes in his 2 starts, but he's shown you that he can be productive off the bench, and I think our
Talk LLC, or also our Facebook YouTube channel On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. And real quick, before we continue on, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville and office location too in Rogers, the Baymont Hotel located at 735 South Shiloh Drive, and Locomotion located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. Now, with that out of the way, back to the main thing, the fastest 40. The biggest matchup that I see, Scotty, throughout the whole game, when I'm looking at stats for both teams, Mason Jones and Quandary Witherspoon, I feel like whoever wins that matchup tomorrow night wins this ball game. How big is that matchup in your opinion for both teams? Not just one, but for both teams, that Mason and Quandary plays well.
Yeah, he's obviously he's kind of the leader of that team, and Mike said yesterday he's probably playing some of his best ball right now. And I've mentioned earlier he's the 3rd leading scorer in the SEC, so he can give you 20 any given night. And I think he's done it. He's scored 27 in 3 games in league play this year already. But he really likes playing against Arkansas for some reason. I looked up yesterday. He's 10 of 16 from 3 in 4 career games against Arkansas, and I think he scores 17 a game against the Razorbacks, and I think that's the 3rd highest mark he's got against any other team in the league. So he's always been kind of a thorn in Arkansas' side. He went for 22 and 25 in their last 2 meetings. So stopping him is a big deal. And I think, you're right. Mason's hit some shots lately, but I feel like he kind of like Reggie. I don't want to say he's at the point that Reggie's at right now, but Mason's kind of been hit or miss, and he's kind of been that way a lot this year. When he has good games, they're great, but when he's off, he's just kind of average. And I think they need him to step up big time tomorrow.
Well, last question before I let you go. Give me your impact player of the game for Arkansas tomorrow, in your opinion, for Arkansas to have its best chance to win.
I think collectively Arkansas's 4 spot's got to be really solid. Reggie Perry the guy that I know a lot of Arkansas fans are going to show up just so they can boo him tomorrow. But whoever's got the assignment of covering him is going to be big. You know, he wants to come in and kind of make a statement and be like, yeah, I feel like I did make the right decision going to Mississippi State. And I know he's got several teammates that he played AAU ball with, and they'd like nothing more than to shut him down tomorrow.
You knew that comment, you know, when Isaiah was saying we knew secrets, but we weren't going to give them away in our media availability. But as always, Scotty, thanks for keeping up and giving us the updates daily of the Fastest 40. I'll catch up with you tomorrow night, and thanks for taking time out on the hill.
All right, sounds good. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. That was Scotty Bordelin of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. We've got one more. There's two sides to every story. So we're going to take a trip on the Mississippi side of things and talk with our good buddy, Jake Wimberly of the Drive at 5. He's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
From what I've seen last year, I mean, he can do basically everything. He comes in and rebounds also as a guard in like his position. And I mean, we just got to, pay attention to the little things that he does, because those little things might help them in the long run, but we got to make sure that doesn't happen.
You guys got a lot. Mississippi State's projected to be in the NCAA tournament. Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, obviously. So you got some tough games coming up. But the good news is, if you beat those guys, that's going to raise your all's profile. How do you feel about the schedule you got coming up?
I mean, I feel good about it because like once before we went on a run, we can go on another run, and then beating those big teams like that, it will get our name up there, and so hopefully we'll be at the end of the season had the opportunity to make to the tournament.
It puts us to where we have to have the mindset that we need to start coming out and playing like men. We just can't come out and, have those bad starts that we've had in those games that we lost. We just have to come out and we have to play basketball every one of those games. We can't come out playing soft. We can't come out playing slow. We got to play the fastest 40, and we got to be ready for any and every matchup for each one of those teams, because they're all going to be tough teams down this last stretch that we have, and we want to make noise out of it. We want to make noise, with this program, so we're going to have to come out and play basketball.
Question for both Isaiah and Dan, but when you look at the tape and these last-minute possessions where a shot made would have won the game, is there something that all of those have in common when it comes to maybe what didn't happen at the end of the game? Was it execution? Was it just what the defense was showing you when you guys look back at the tape?
I think you hit it right on with the execution part.
Welcome back. It's our Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, as we come to you each and every day here live on KDSJ 479 from 1 to 2 p.m. And we continue on talking Arkansas, Mississippi State, as both teams come in 5 and 6. It's a big game for both the Dogs and the Hogs. So we're going to catch up with the Mississippi State side of things and catch up with our good buddy, Jake Wimberly of the Drive at 5. Jake, welcome back to the Hill, my man.
Pat, happy Friday, my friend. Hope you guys are doing well up there.
Doing real good, trying to stay dry. It's a little rainy and damp up here, but other than that, I'm healthy, family healthy, my producer's healthy, everybody in my studio's good. So, and then there's a ball game to take place in Fayetteville with Mississippi State and Arkansas. Talk to me about what's going on with the Dogs, and what are the keys heading to Bud Walton for them to come out with this big win and be 6-6 in what is to be a Dogs race here in the end in February.
It is. The conference is fun. You got Tennessee sitting at the top, obviously the top team in the country, and then, of course, Kentucky. And then LSU's playing really good ball. And then you've got a cluster of about 5 or 6 teams, Pat, battling for, supremacy. Every win at this point, I tell our audience every day this time of the year, every win counts, every game counts. Everybody's looking at those bracketology, picks and stuff on CBSSports.com and other places. And right now, Mississippi State's in a good spot. If the tournament were today, they would be a 7, 8, 9 seed. You'd love to try to play into that 6 or 5 seed in the tournament. But for Mississippi State, it's about continuing to get better. This team has been a very Jekyll and Hyde team under Ben Howland over the last couple of years. Pat, one of the things that they've got to get better at, is rebounding. They just don't rebound the ball well. Playing Florida early in the year, playing Ole Miss early in the year, they lost some games over to South Carolina. Really got out hustled on the ball. Some nights he shows up and he shows out, and sometimes, Pat, you don't even know that he's on the floor.
How big is that matchup? You talk about the veteran backcourt there. They've been through some up
in that arena before, but it's not like they've won a ton of ball games in that arena. They've had some tough times. some tough nights. So Mississippi State's going to have to come play with that extra energy because Arkansas is going to have the energy there playing on their floor. Oh, I think, if we just talk about Reggie Perry, it's kind of been a workman's-like mentality. Just you hear a lot of the same stuff out of these guys. They're not giving a whole lot up. They're not saying a whole lot, but I would expect the crowd definitely be charged. And for him and for this entire team, it's just to play team basketball. It's not make it about one individual or one matchup. You got to play the entire both halves and play both ends of the court and play quality basketball. And look, for Mississippi State to win this game, they got to have everybody on the floor play the same. Put in the same effort, so to speak. And it's going to take every minute of this ball game for them to come out of there with a win.
Real quick, now I know we always talk basketball, but you can never get football out of your blood. In a way too early, forecast for this football team in Starkville. You lost your defensive line coach. There's been a lot of, shuffling and moving around within the SEC as far as position coaches. How's this team looking? In the way too early start of spring football there in Starkville.
Yeah, we're putting our numbers together for the analytics that I do. They'll be out in April, and I've got all the stuff in place. We're working through schedules right now for projections. And when you look at Mississippi State, Pat, they're going to have a new quarterback in Keaton Thompson. It's no secret down here that Joe Moorhead and his staff, they were eyeing that transfer portal for a guy like Kelly Bryant or, maybe a home run hit for Justin Fields. I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe pick up another quarterback. And here's why. It's because I'm not so sure that, Keaton Thompson may go on to be an all-SEC type player, but he was recruited to play Dan Mullen's offense. Joe Moorhead wants to throw the football, much like Chad Morris wants to throw the football in a different respect, so to speak, schematically, but they still want to throw the ball. Clemson, I think, has proven, Alabama's proven you've got to be able to throw the ball to win in this day and age of football. So, Mississippi State's going to be, again, question marks at receiver, question marks at quarterback. They're going to have a decent offensive line. Some quality running backs there with Kylan Hill. He's an all-SEC type back. Defensively, they bring back some pieces, but, Pat, they're going to be young. This is a transition year for Mississippi State. I've tried to tell the state fans down here, look, if you can just get to 6-6, 7-5, that you never want that to be the goal, but sometimes you got to be realistic. That is the goal this year,
right?
Because Arkansas is going to be much improved. Ole Miss is going to be, somewhat improved, you would think, with the coaches that they've got with Rich Rodriguez and the new defensive coordinator McIntyre. So it's going to be another tough year in the SEC, and Mississippi State's going to find themselves, with a lot of young guys on the field. They're going to have to grow up early.
Hey, as always, my man, we'll continue to catch up as we get off into spring ball here in a few weeks. It as they always say, Jake, it just means more. But as always,
it does.
Thanks for taking time out on the hill, and you have a blessed weekend,
Thanks,
my brother.
Have a good weekend. Appreciate it.
All right. That was Jake Wimberly of the Drive at 5, covers the Mississippi State Bulldogs for us here on OTH, and gives us great SEC scuttlebutt, and the skinny from Starkville, Mississippi. Stark Vegas, as they like to call it. But we'll take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with the guest that I think he does a better job than me, Cassius. He's going to close it out with Dear Myself. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
But these with the coming down and not being able to execute, certain plays to get us to win or at least get us to at least overtime. I mean, it teaches us that we have to come down, we have to be crisp, we can't make mistakes on any part of the offense that we run. So we just have to come down and we have to play with level heads. We can't, get in a rush, because if we get in a rush, we'll always just give the ball back to the opposing team.
Mike Anderson said the other day that the first half against South Carolina was probably the best defense you guys have played all year. Then the second half wasn't so good. And the first half against Missouri, I think both teams scored 46 in those halves. What do you think happened to the defense in the starting in the second half against Carolina? And what do you guys got to do to get it back to the way you were playing in recent games?
We just got to come out with that same intensity that we did in the first half of the South Carolina game. I mean, we were out there getting deflections. We were talking on defense, rotating in lanes. You just have to be active. We have to play like the fastest 40, and playing like the fastest 40, it's almost like playing against 7 people whenever you're playing against us, because we're always moving, we're always active. We just got to get back to playing that way.
Yeah, I want to just piggyback off what he said. I mean,
welcome back to our Friday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. I say we come to you each and every day live here on KDSJ 479. You can catch us on our YouTube live stream at On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk LLC. You can also catch us on our Facebook page, On the Hill Sports Talk, each and every day as we live stream. You can catch us on SaucedUpRadio.com. You can catch us if you don't get a chance, and you can't see the live stream on YouTube or Facebook, and also to iHeartRadio, as we also on the iHeartRadio channel. You can catch us on those as well. But real quick, before we bring in my soon-to-be host of On the Hill one day, Cash, just want to give a thank you to all our guests, Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and Hogville.net, Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, and also to Jake Wimberly of the Drive at 5. But I want to go over to my good buddy Cassius, and Cassius is going to give us a synopsis of a lot of different things. And first I want to ask Cassius, what are your keys when you look at this Arkansas ball game? What does Arkansas have to do to get off the losing streak? I mean, 3 in a row, not been playing very good defensively. What is it, in your opinion, that has to change for the fastest 40 to be the fastest 40 going forward?
Well, the fastest 40 started with the press, and the press is defense, and defense is key for everything. So for them to start winning again, they have to figure out a way to stop people. Like, I watched the LSU game, and they stopped LSU, and they were hot. Arkansas was hot for a long time, but then what LSU do? They started pressing. Arkansas couldn't handle it. So defense wins the game. Offense wins games. Defense wins championship. But defense does win a lot of games too. So for them to start winning again, they have to start playing really well defense.
How many touches does Daniel Gafford have to get each and every game, in your opinion, for Arkansas? Because does the game go through Daniel, or is it vice versa? I'm of inside out. They've been playing outside in, but where are you at? How many times, in your opinion, if you're the coach, does DG touch the ball night in and night out?
I don't understand why on every possession Arkansas doesn't look to give Daniel Gafford the ball. There's nobody in the country that can guard him one-on-one. You see teams, they double, they triple team him, they hack and shack him, they fouling him. If you get Daniel Gafford the ball, that opens up everything on offense, because teams aren't going to be able to stop him. Then once they start double teaming, you can kick it out. Somebody knock down a 3. They're not going to play help off of Isaiah Joe, or most of the time that's going to be 3 points. So I say not every possession, but close to every possession, you have to look to get Daniel the ball in some type of way.
Another question, with Daniel or with Desi, Isaiah, Reggie, all those guys being teammates, how much adrenaline do you think is going to be on the court with those 3 guys? Once the ball is tipped off. I mean, these are teammates. They were at once thought to all be coming to Arkansas. Reggie decided to defect, and to almost agree, it felt like they didn't know about it. My brother didn't even tell me he was about to break up or go to a party without me. I think that's kind of what the gist of it. How much energy in that arena will all the fans plus the players have on both sides of the court?
Well, it's a good thing that the game is in Arkansas. That's a coincidence, because Reggie Perry is going to get booed out of the gym, but he's a great player, and there's energy every game. But especially when you see somebody that I know, like when I play games and I have friends, they're not your friends for 40 minutes. They're your enemy. You hate that person. I don't like you. I don't want to be near you. If you get the ball, I'm coming to steal it from you. I want to win. I want you to lose. That's the mentality. After the game, they can text each other, say good game, but during the game, they're going to hate each other like competitors do, and it's going to be a great game.
Man, Demetrius, did you hear what my guy just laid down? The realest of the real, and he's only a teenager with a lot of growth. Cash, how old are you?
I'm 16.
16, guys. 16, you hear that? January. Did you hear that, listeners? 16, and remember the name. But also, Cassius, how can people keep in contact with you? You do have a YouTube channel and things. Let people know how they can continue to follow your work.
Well, I'm on YouTube at Cassius Williamson. It's just my name. It's pulling up on the screen right now.
Razorback Nation, it's been a long time, but we're finally here.
Yeah, like
the
I said
first
earlier, me
interview
and
of the
Isaiah
year.
Joe,
Man, it's been a
I
long
text him
time
from
since
time
I've
to
done
time,
an
tell him
interview.
congratulations.
Last interview
I texted him
did
the other day when he broke the
Zion
record.
Williamson.
But
man, that was crazy.
You can catch me on Twitter also at Cassius Clay, and my dad's a Kappa, so we like to keep everything K's. So it's Cassius Clay, and Clay is with a K. It's a lot of rhyming right now. Cassius Clay 03, and that's how you can catch me. And Pat, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. It's been a great opportunity to get my name out there. I want to say thank you. 99.3 The Beat in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. You know who I'm talking about, Mr. LaRon Marbley. I want to say thank you. You know, during football season, you let me come on the radio and do the football games with you. I want to say thank you to you. And I just want to say thank you to everybody.
And that's why we do it. I mean, I'm telling you, he's a good one. You better keep in touch with this guy. You heard one more time. How do they get in touch with you? Your YouTube. Let them all know one more time, just in case we had something that just jumped in.
My YouTube is Cassius Williamson. You spell Cassius K-A-S-I-U-S Williamson. One more time, K-A-S-I-U-S Williamson. And then you can follow me on Twitter, KASIUSKLAY03. Cassius Clay 03.
Well, you heard it. And he just wrapped up everything. There's nothing more for me to be said. He took care of all that, didn't he, D? And I think he did a great job. So we'll just go ahead and wrap it up and give a shout out to our sponsors. Lindsay & Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, it's located at 735 South Shiloh Drive in Fayetteville. And lastly, Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. It's been a great show. Give a thank you to Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and Hallville.net, Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, and Jake Wimberly of the Drive at 5, talking all things hogs and dogs. It's been the A, and it's our Friday edition. And I'm going to let Cassius close us out.
And before I go, I want to say one more thing. Mr. Kevin McPherson, thank you for shouting me out. Me and Mr. Kevin, we see each other every year at the state tournament. We always have press passes. I just want to say thank you for him. It's always great talking to him. And we'll see you next time on the show and on the Hill.
It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one.